this old thing's been having issues again. This time it's a completely different issue. When it's horizontal like this, yeah, it's opposite of the last issue. Anyways, when it's horizontal like this, sometimes the disc tray comes out and then it goes straight back in again. It's not going to do it now. It seems to only do it when it's all together, and it also doesn't do it on camera. It's not a consistent issue. It'll do it from time to time. It's very annoying when it does do it, because when it starts doing it, it keeps doing it. But when it doesn't do it, it doesn't do it, obviously. So I have a sneaking suspicion I know what's wrong with it. I'm going to start taking it apart and let's see. So take that thing off, put it somewhere safe. On this 5000 model, the tray just comes straight out when the top cover's off. Yeah, these are the stops that prevent it from coming out when the cover's on. So cover's off. Should probably cover the laser to make sure no dust gets on it. Now, one thing I've noticed, as you can see, you can test it like that while it's open. So that mechanism works fine. The switch here works perfectly. I don't think that's the issue. One thing I've noticed, this gear is oddly wobbly. I really hope that center pin isn't broken, but I have a feeling it is broken, because if it looks like shit, smells like shit, and tastes like shit, it's probably shit. Oh, hang on. Let's turn it off. I just hit the main power switch. This belt is in good shape. This is nice and tight. Oh no. Oh no, I knew it. That wasn't me. I think it's always been like that. But it's only just started to show issues. Oh. That's not good. I'm gonna have to glue that back somehow. Also, by the way, if you're having issues with the tray not opening and closing, this is the switch responsible for that. You're going to want to check it out. Wow, this camera makes the PS2 look so much dirtier than it really is. My eyes, which are pretty good, by the way, don't see all this dust, but this does. Maybe it is time to clean it again, I guess. There's a bit of dust on the motor, but other than that, all this other dust isn't visible to my eyes. It's visible through the camera. Anyways, this is unfortunate. Let's see if we can fix it with some super glue. Alright, that went surprisingly well. This feels nice and sturdy. The gear slides on it. Nice and well. It's nice and stable. I wouldn't put too much strain on that. Absolutely no closing the tray by hand. But that seems pretty good. I'm going to put some grease on it too, just a tiny little bit. Hopefully that'll work for many years to come. Now that I've opened this tube of super glue, the whole thing is going to dry up and whole tube's going to go to waste, so I better find something else. I better break some more shit while I still have the tube. While I'm in here, I'm also going to lubricate points. This is already greased up. I'm going to grease it a bit better. All this has been lubricated. Basically, all the sliding surfaces like that. See where that line is? Where it's clearly been rubbing? That needs to be lubricated. There's one there. That needs to be lubricated. That needs to be lubricated. And that needs to be lubricated. For gears like this, I go with white lithium grease. These are the Q-tips I use to grease it. White lithium grease for the gears. And silicone lubricant for everything else. All the sliding surfaces. So this rack and pinion was quite worn out over there, just the first few teeth, so that's why I decided to put the grease on it. Normally you wouldn't grease plastic gears, because plastic, especially this, appears to be some kind of Delrin material. This is self-lubricating, but a little bit of lubricant doesn't hurt as long as you don't go crazy. You don't want it to get on the belt, you don't want it to get on the laser, and you don't want it to get on any switches or anything like that. So if you apply it lightly, it will come a long way in helping the PS2 run better. Or like the tray mechanism, rather. Very good. Okay, so I've greased up the gears. I didn't do as neat of a job as I hoped, but I greased up all the gears, any of the gear teeth, even under this, being very careful not to get anything on the belt. And now I've got a Q-tip soaked in silicone lubricant, and now I'm just going across all of the sliding friction points, this little track here that the pin rides in. I've noticed there's a section broken there, but it doesn't seem to affect anything. I don't know who did that. Like, I bought this PS2 10 years ago, which means somebody had it for many more years before I did. Lubricate that. Flip it over. That disc is garbage, so don't worry about it. That section there needs to be lubricated. Just very lightly. Doesn't have to be much. That there needs to be lubricated, and that I think earlier models had like a some kind of guide here. Those teeth need to be lubricated. Sorry, I had the camera focused on the wrong thing, too focused on doing the job. I think that looks like something that would be a sliding surface, so I'll lubricate it anyways. Again, be careful not to get anything somewhere important. Somewhere where grease shouldn't be. Maybe I'll lubricate that little pivot point right there. And that one. So once that's all lubricated, it should be ready to go back together. Also this point here. Hang on, let me do this off camera. Okay, so I went ahead and I lubricated more points. Now it's ready to go back together. Gotta be very careful knowing... Oh shit, I forgot to put that thing on the cover. Oh, I hope I didn't break that. No, it's still good. Also, I would recommend filling these little channels here with some white lithium grease, just a little bit, because these are important for the drive up and down thingy. Okay, that was a total nightmare. So, I accidentally broke that off like 2 more times, so I glued it back together now and it's fine. And then, so there's like a little nub under there, under that screw, just like this. I accidentally broke that off too. And when I was putting it back together, I accidentally left this part of the plastic thing over this rail. Right? Like, you see how it's supposed to go under there? I accidentally left it over there, and when I'd put the tray in, it would jam. And the only way to get it out again was to pull it super hard, which would break that pin off again. So after I glued this and this back together, I accidentally broke this little nub off, this little locating nub. I don't have my tweezers, so I couldn't glue that back on properly. So what I ended up doing was I took a little drill bit, a little tiny micro drill bit. I drilled a hole where the thing was supposed to be and put a tiny little screw there just to keep it located. It's not screwed down super tight. It's just for an alignment. It's just for alignment, which is what that pin did before. So anyways, this 5-minute job quickly turned into a 2-hour thing. I got it back together now, finally. And now that I got the, let's put the tray back in. Carefully now. That seems to be working a lot better. It already sounded better. It wasn't making those rickety noises that it was before. Anyways, hang on, let's get it to, let's test the disc out. Oh, that's this thing. This thing. It's an audio CD because it's the only thing I have sitting around right now. Again, I don't really know what's on this. These aren't mine. Let's actually just make sure the laser is moving. I'm going to go all the way to the last track. Okay, yep. Spinning nice and slow. Eject. And it comes all the way out and doesn't go all the way back in again. Or it doesn't go back in automatically again. Much better than before. I got to be careful with this though, because that pin super glued on, it's never going to be as strong as it was before. So no pushing the drive in manually. Actually, I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to regret this. No, it worked fine. As long as you're gentle. But use the eject button. Funny story about this. I actually lost this while I was working on this, and I looked everywhere and I couldn't find it. I had the cap, I hadn't put the cap back on. I found out this had gotten glued to the elbow of my shirt, like the sleeve of my shirt. And I was running around like a madman looking for this the whole time, until I finally saw it when I passed through the mirror in the bathroom. I left this here for the next guy. Unfortunately, the next guy is probably me. Alright, let's test the tray out. That sounded a lot better. It doesn't make any of those weird noises anymore. It's nice and reliable. It's not going back in immediately like it was before. Before, the light would keep blinking and then it would just go back in as soon as it comes out. See the disc read time. This is an audio CD. Nice and quick. Let's test it out down here. Picking it up like this is such a dumb idea after all the shit that I just went through fixing it, but I never learned my lesson. Let's test it vertically. Just for old time's sake. Yeah, it's oh, wait, what? It read the disc nice and quick, even though it's vertical. Come to think of it, maybe that PS1 game I have is just in terrible shape. Wow, it has no trouble reading this CD, even though it's vertical. I guess, maybe all my violently thrashing it around, violently thrashing the tray around fixed the laser. There we go, runs nicely. Perfect. Anyways, folks, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Have some fun under the sun.